Good afternoon. I've got some good news for you. It's the last talk of the day. After this, there will be open bar somewhere, I'm sure. I'm not quite sure where these things happen. My name's Don Box. I'm here with Seth, Kevin, and Ori. And this is going to be the most bizarre talk I've ever given. Normally I give talks by myself. Normally I try to do everything in the context of a single editor window. And this thing, we've got all kinds of crazy probes and monitors and all kinds of bizarre stuff. So it's going to be pretty interesting. I've also noticed there have been beers floating around the hall. Apparently they're already starting to liquor up the attendees. We will invariably have at least one failed demonstration. So in order to keep this talk exciting, what I'd like to do is have a drinking game. And whenever you see a demo tank completely, you're supposed to take a big swig of whatever drink you've got, and I'm sure you've all got excellent drinks in front of you, and drink and just say, .NET rocks. Now another thing, this talk, it's the end of the day. This is the death march talk. No speaker ever wants the 5 o'clock slot. It's the worst possible slot. So not only do we have a drinking game planned for you and all these crazy devices, we have a contest. And this contest is really going to pull the most out of the attendees. It's going to really test the mettle of every single one in this room. And I've got news for you. You're not all going to win. This is not going to be like if you went to my talk this morning where I gave away a bunch of T-shirts and I didn't really test. Did you actually did you really meet the criteria? I'm sure a few people got T-shirts this morning that did not deserve them. But this contest we're going to do today, this challenge, this thing that will really bring the attendees into the talk, has as much seriousness as I've ever been. I've never been involved with this kind of a giveaway. We have two gifts. We have two gifts to give away. First prize is an MPX 200 phone running all the fancy stuff we're going to show you today. And I suggest you try to win this, because the second place gift is a book on Visual Basic. Now, it's an excellent book. I think this book, this second prize, is actually the best prize, because this is the gift of knowledge. And with this knowledge, you'll be able to earn money and buy many of these. This is a throwaway. But we have two gifts. And at some point in the event, it'll become glaringly obvious what you have to do to win one or, well, actually, if there's only one winner, if only one person can beat the challenge, then you actually get both gifts. So, but I bet there'll be more than one person who can make it. Cool. So, what we're going to do, for me, prepping for this talk was a really illuminating experience. I'm classically focused on the server. I don't do GUI programming. I'm a plumber. I was born a plumber. I'll probably die a plumber. As much as I love to think I could do something practical with my life, I think I'm stuck at Microsoft forever, because it's all I can do is stuff that you can only do if you have a large operating system business. And there's just not that many places that do that, and also pay. So I may be a lifer. We'll see. But when Kevin and Ori asked me to come do this talk, I thought it would be really fun. Not so much because I thought I'd learn how to write GUI code, because quite honestly, I've written a few WinForms, throwaways, like many plumbers have. But for me, it was really just a chance to see, what happens when we have this server-side code. What do the clients look like, and what kind of profiles can we actually get this stuff to work in? Back in the 90s, a lot of folks thought that distributed objects were going to be the way the world went, and I worked on the port of DCOM to get it to run on Unix, and I thought that was going to be the way that my server-side code that I like to write on Windows, because I just like Windows. That's the way I thought that stuff would get reached. And of course, as you all know, In 98, we did SOAP and XML and all this stuff. And I'll tell you, the most exciting thing has been watching the ability to do SOAP-based programming, web services programming, being able to see the stuff I do on the back end, which is boring to a lot of folks. To me, it's really exciting. But to actually see that that could be made real, and the opportunity to touch that was really exciting. So that's why I'm doing this talk, since some of you are wondering why is Don doing this talk. Before we get started, I'd like to do two things. First off, now that I've done my confessional, hello, my name's Don, I have a device. I'd like to do to find out a little bit about you folks. How many of you folks have some sort of smartphone, pocket PC, one of the devices running Windows Mobile? Show of hands. Be proud. Great. How many of you have written programs for it? Ah, sweet. Those of you who wrote programs, how many of you did it using unmanaged code, probably C++? Few. How many of you did it using .NET Compact Framework? Great. A lot of folks. How many of you guys have done J2ME? Yeah, it's really funny. We had a bunch of attendees who signed up who were Java developers, but all the J2ME folks, they're still back there trying to get it to work, so they had to call in and cancel. There was actually a few openings towards the end. Sorry. Couldn't help that. Sorry. I'll be nice. And how many of you folks use Symbian? Programming in Symbian. Wow. Cool. So, what's the premise here? Well, we invested, I forgot the number, but it's like $1 billion or some incredibly high amount of money getting the CLR, right? The CLR is actually a very, very interesting piece of technology. On the plain Windows platform, it solved a lot of problems, right? We had some problems with COM that maybe some of you knew. One of the problems was metadata wasn't always there. With COM, we had type libs sometimes. Sometimes we didn't. Sometimes we had IDL, and sometimes we didn't. So it's kind of hard to understand what your code did. And we also had issues with all of these programming languages building these runtime layers that had to run in all kinds of different situations. My favorite example is VB. Right? Classic VB, VB6 and before, had this thing called, towards the end it was called MSVBVM.dll. And that DLL was really kind of ported from older and older versions of BASICs. In fact, it's funny, if you ever run into someone on the VB team, in fact, Paul probably could tell the same story. Everyone on the VB team thinks they are the one who deleted the last line of Bill Gates' code out of that particular DLL. Because remember, Bill worked on BASIC back in the 70s. And it's an apocryphal story. Everyone on the VB team loves to tell the story. Well, back in '89, I was in the floating point handling, and there was Bill's code with the comment, and I yanked it. They all tell the story. And so they can't all be telling the truth, right? At most, one person could remove the last line of Gates' code. Well, it turns out none of them are telling the truth. There's still code in that DLL from 1975. I'm convinced of it. And getting that code to move forward into multi-threaded environments, into server-side environments, having it scale in the face of concurrency and not melt down has been a real challenge. CLR was really an attempt to solve that. One of the things that, for me as a COM guy, when I saw what we did with the CLR, I saw, yeah, VBVM, that thing needs some help. The fact that the TLBs are kind of screwed up, yeah, I see why we need to do that. The thing that wasn't obvious to me, but in retrospect now, it's arguably one of the more important decisions that was made, was that rather than just adding rich metadata to the existing DLL format, which really we were toying with the COM TLB format, right? COM TLBs really made a PE file much more interesting and much more rich, right? Rather than just saying we're going to clean that up and do an excellent job at it, and write a new library of routines like floating point routines and string formatting routines and all the date stuff that you know from the VBVM. Rather, we're going to go ahead and move up this level of abstraction and stop shipping machine code, right? Such that when I write a C# program, when I write a VB.NET program, when I write a managed C++ program, I don't really know what the target processor architecture is going to be, or at least I don't have to know. Rather, we up-leveled the layer of abstraction and said, x86 is an interesting architecture amongst many. And so what we do is we emit a virtualized instruction set that runs against an abstract machine. And then we said, wait a second, virtual machines, that could be slow. So the novel aspect of the CLR was the fact that we have a virtualized instruction set which buys us independence from a particular processor architecture, and that'll become crystal clear when we do this demonstration. But the interesting thing was we said, and we're not going to interpret it, right? We're not going to necessarily base our entire architecture on the ability to interpret that stuff. And so if you're a Windows developer and you use the CLR, you know you're running x86. We're just deferring the production of that x86 on the desktop. Does it mean you can't build an interpreter? No, right? It just means that we don't rely on an interpreter to make this architecture work. So if I know how to produce these DLLs, I have a pretty useful skill, right? If you heard Ballmer's keynote this morning, he mentioned the fact that the analysts are coming in and telling us that .NET penetration is going up. It's over 50%. It's huge, right? So automatically, I have the ability to write code for most new Windows scenarios. And in fact, with Longhorn, the ability to write managed code is pretty much a prerequisite to do anything really interesting. Can you get to WinFS from unmanaged code? Yes. Can you get to Avalon from unmanaged code? Yes. Can you get to Indigo from unmanaged code? Yes. But the experience is easier and definitely higher performance if you move to managed code, right? So when you hear about things like virtualized instruction sets, execution engines, garbage collectors, all of these things, we're at a point in the evolution of this platform where it may have seemed slow to begin with, but we're on a model that we're committed to. Making the format of these executables go fast is what we do at Microsoft. And the perf delta is going to go like this, right? Native code can't get much faster. There's not much we can do because we can't analyze it as well. But with virtualized instruction sets, we have a lot more power, and the perf differential will actually get much more advantageous for managed code over time. And then we have these devices, right? I don't, y'all have them. I don't need to give you the pitch on, why we need them. My PC, as much as I love my ThinkPad, when I go down the 520 to go home, and I'm, getting the Wi-Fi off the 520 bridge, yes, it works, but I'm putting my life at risk. And it's not good for the other motorists, right? So, this device is a wonderful device. I'll probably have it for a long time. But honestly, I check my mail pretty much as often with this as I do with that. And this is just my little MPX 200 I've been carrying around for a while. And so devices are here. So what I'd like to do is write a bunch of code. Rather than pontificate and tell you how wonderful the world's going to be and how great all this stuff is, what I'd like to do is write a little bit of code, starting with the stuff we're shipping today, right? Because this is a TechEd. We have to tell you about stuff we're not going to ship for a long time and make you drool. I promise we will do that. But we'll start with stuff that you can go home, show your family, show your boss, do this demo, and they'll buy you a really fancy phone, right? I'm confident you'll be able to do this. So without further ado, I brought some friends with me. I'd like to start by advancing this PowerPoint slide. There we go. I'd like to bring up Seth Demsey. Seth is a developer. Seth used to be a program manager, and he just recently became a developer, which means he's lost the ability to communicate, or he's losing it. So this will be the last talk that this will be the last talk that Seth will be able to string 2 sentences together for.
Damage is becoming permanent quite soon.
So what Seth is going to do is walk me through a little bit of code using the shipping bits. Shall we?
Well, let's go ahead, Don.
Seth, have you and I met before this event?
Maybe once or twice.
Is this in fact my phone?
This is absolutely your phone.
Yes, it is. Okay.
You can check the SMS from your wife.
Good. Good. Glad to know.
So, let's, you want to pop up VS?
I'd love to.
So what we're going to do is actually bring up Visual Studio .NET 2003 out in the market today. And the only thing that we've done to VS here is added the smartphone and Pocket PC 2003 SDKs. These are freely available on MSDN, so you can go ahead and download them this evening and just install them.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and start up a new project. And let's do VB. VB sounds good?
VB.
VB Smart Device
As you know,
Project.
I love VB. That's why I brought the book. I had the Anders Hausberg book.
Yeah.
No.
This is
No. I got the VB book because I wanted the best.
Absolutely.
I wanted the best product possible.
All right, so Smart Device app. Let's go choose VB. Give it some fun name. That's beautiful. All right, let's go. All right, so next we are confronted with a dialogue. Not too perplexing. So given that Don's smartphone is attached, let's go ahead and choose smartphone.
I'd love to do that. And she'll do a Windows application.
Windows app, no libraries. Let's just keep it simple for now. All right. This is familiar.
Can I, if I were to resize this, would my phone grow?
Let's give it a try.
Can I do it?
I don't know, actually. Do you want to come
God.
here? Uh-oh. All right, now.
Oh, undo. Works.
Does undo not work? Okay.
You know what?
Hey, you know what? I think you should just close the window and open it again and see what happens. The designer window. Go ahead and open that file up. We love doing this. This is fantastic. Oh, look at that. Whew.
So it's
Applause
great.
for the
So Visual
resize.
Studio knew.
It's so smart
It knew.
that we can't mess up the screen size of this phone. It's that
That's
smart.
excellent. I love that.
So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go ahead and call the MapPoint web service, which is a Microsoft web service that's deployed today that allows you to get maps. And we're going to get a map of where we are right now.
So shall I go grab the reference?
Let's do that.
So I'll add a web reference. This is just like I use for Visual Studio users.
Yes.
This is the exact same front end that I'm used to when I write a desktop app.
The goal was no differences. So let's see how close we get. All right. Is it going to drop down? Or?
Good question.
Let's see. There it is.
There it is.
Beautiful. This is the MapPoint web service. Let's go add a reference to this guy. And okay, so that was pretty hard. Picture box. Since we're going to display the map, just chuck one of those on the form. Point out a little bit in the toolbox, if you haven't noticed, there are some grayed out controls. Does anyone know why these controls are grayed out? They don't apply, absolutely. So VS is so smart, it's grayed out controls that you can't use. In the designer, for instance, button, something that you click on with a stylus, is quite hard on a phone without a touch screen.
Seth, that's my phone. Be generous.
All right. So we got a picture box.
Yes, I do.
Let's add a little menu item so we could go ahead and click it when we're ready to go. So I think we need to put a blank one in the left because you're not allowed to click that one. Yeah, let's make an exit button. I like that. And go get the map. I think that's all the designer work that we really need to do.
That's about all my skills will.
That's about
You've hit the wall.
excellent.
This is my audition.
As planned.
Yes. All right.
Excellent.
Great.
So double click on the Get Map button and let's go get an event handler.
Okay.
Perfect. That's pretty normal.
Great.
And we're going to do some imports real quick. So let's add system.net and system.io and that web service that we just added from MapPoint. Uh-oh. Yeah. This is a new VB syntax here that he's been developing for quite some time. Do you like it? Excellent.
Is it fun name?
It's funname dot
Net.
net.mappoint dot staging, I think. Beautiful.
Cool.
All right.
It won't compile without
I was going to say,
that.
what happens if you try and compile without
I don't
that?
know. I do just this, and it won't compile.
Ah, yes.
But if I do this, it compiles perfectly.
Don't try this at home. This is a special version of the VB compiler that we wrote specially for Don.
Okay.
All right. Well, we've got all our imports, so let's actually go program against this web service.
Perfect.
So let's go create one of these guys. So
Okay.
it's called a render service soap is the name of this class.
Okay. I'll instantiate it.
Sounds good. And next thing is we're going to set the credentials on this because basically we're going to try and make money off this MapPoint web service. But since we're special, they gave us a set of credentials so we can show you how it works, but don't look at these credentials. Please don't take them home with you and write applications.
I actually have the credentials.
You have the
written down.
credentials there?
You don't want to say them aloud.
Yeah, it's
Because if you say them aloud, they'll copy them down. So hold on.
just, yeah, close your eyes.
Yeah, get them to look away.
Beautiful.
Okay. And now the password thing.
This is,
VS does that thing with the stars, so they won't see it.
yeah, this is going to get masked immediately,
Excellent.
even in the code. Look at the colon.
I got the colon,
Huh?
but don't say the words.
Oops.
They'll see it. They'll hear it. Excellent.
Excellent. Beautiful.
Yes.
All right.
The code's good too.
Code's great. So now we've got credentials. We've got a web
Right.
service. So now we're basically going to get in the guts of map point programming, a little bit of goo. Let's throw it in a try-catch block just in case it doesn't work out. So what we're going to do is create a map specification, which is our sort of core object that we pass to this web service. Then we're going to go set a bunch of options on this map spec. So first one we're going to actually do is set the image format on it. And as soon as we new up the image format on that, it should be just options.format.
That's what I thought. Oh, format.
Ah, all right. You could just, hold on. All right. IntelliSense makes it tough to program.
It does.
'Cause you're listening, you know what you want to type, but there's a list box and it's on something, and you're just like, you must know better than me. So now that we know the image format, let's go and just set the height and width to the height and width of our picture box that we added in the form. I think it's
impossible.
Step away from the keyboard.
all right. Beautiful. So
Picture box.
picture box 1.
So we're going to basically just go grab an image from that
Right.
point, blast it in the picture box. So we just want it to be the same.
Just
size.
set it the size of the picture box. And, all right. Beautiful. Last thing we need to do, I believe, is set the data source. So go ahead and set the ms.dataSource to mappoint.na. An undocumented feature of MapPoint, NA stands for North America. If you type in .moon, you can get the coordinates of your map on the moon. But we'll just do North America because you'll know it's real. All right. Now that we've got the options for the web service set
Many
up,
of our attendees have been to the moon.
can we get a show of hands? Anyone? Anyone gonna? We got one. Okay. We should talk later. We might have a special prize for you. Let me take a look around. All right, so now we're going to go actually create the view. So we've set up this this map web service, and we're going to go create the area that we want to take a look at. So I brought my GPS with me. So I happen to know that we're at 32.708717, and the other one, what's it, longitude or longitude? Longitude is negative 117.164432.
Actually, that's wrong.
It is?
Yeah, that's what we are when we're over there. Over here, it's actually 133.
Precision. Precision.
I want it to work.
Absolutely. All right, so
Otherwise, I'll get drunk. The drinking game, remember?
Oh, yeah. So set the height and width to be about 1 kilometer on each side. And then all we need to do is attach this view to our map spec. So I'm going to use some fancy array syntax here. I know you are, aren't you? There you go. All right, looks good. So now that that's attached, all we need to do is call the web service. So the first thing we need to do is declare our return type, which is a map image array. All right, and let's go ahead and call the render service and get map on our map spec. All right, I think one more line and we're done.
Cool.
So in the results, we're just going to go slam the results of this web service into our picture box. So let's set the picture box.image equal to, now this is, we talk about .NET, we talk about intuitive programming, we talk about good object models, and this is basically what we have here. So create a new bitmap, pass it a memory stream.
Oh, right.
A new memory stream. And then go ahead and pass that the map image array index into 0. Go get the MIME data and then the bits property.
That's completely intuitive. I don't know why you mocked that.
Beautiful. And that's it. Do you want to throw something in the message box in case we get an exception, which I know we won't.
Oh, sure.
Excellent. All right.
And should we set the weight cursor in case there's this little bit?
Do you want to set the weight cursor? Okay, let's do that.
How do I do that? Do you know how to do that?
Is it this just this dot cursor is equal this dot cursor equals cursors dot weight? Is that right? Give it a try. That's not this. That's C#. It's me. Is it me? Current dot cursor. Okay. All right. Cursor dot current. All right, I'm telling you, it's me.cursor. Okay, it's not. Wait cursors. We've already wasted more time. Then do you want to do weight cursors? Does anyone know how to set a weight cursor?
No. If you can't do it.
I'm clearly not good enough to be a developer yet, so watch out for that CFE2 code.
Was this one of the interview questions when you flipped over to dev?
I don't know. I have to ask my boss afterwards.
Great. Shall we build it?
Let's do it. So build, and it looks like we succeeded. Bless you. Don is getting over a little cold, so. All right, let's go ahead and run it.
Control F5.
Control F5.
Should we flip the wolf vision?
Let's go ahead and do that. Can folks, let's see, did I just do that correctly? I did. How hard is it to see that screen?
Lean it on its back. Blue on black. No, lean the phone on its back. There
Oh,
you go.
excellent.
There you go.
View angle, beautiful. All right. What's the IDE says something, I believe.
The IDE says establishing connection, copying, finish deploying.
Beautiful. All right. So let's go take a look at our phone here. Got a little weight cursor. Oh, there's our app. We'll go ahead and hit get map. And you just imagine the weight cursor right now. If we had the talent to put that on, we would have. So this is going out really live to the web and getting this from that point. And we got a web exception.
Excellent.
Yes. Beautiful.
Hold on, I needed
Yes.
to christen that bug.
Oh, excellent. I don't know if I have anything up here, but I owe you one.
Seth, did we make a mistake?
I don't know.
Got the credentials right?
Oh, yeah, there's no semicolons.
3,
Yeah,
5,
we're getting a
6.
bunch of...
Ah!
What do we do? Yes. Microsoft security. Look at what happens if you don't... We're all about security.
So I will rebuild.
You will rebuild, and I will reboot.
Ah.
Don't you think? I think so, too. All right. Go ahead and rebuild.
I've rebuilt.
You've rebuilt. I have to power back up. Oh.
What? Don't do that.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We are waiting for this phone to start back up. Has ActiveSync decided to come alive yet? Or does that take a few more seconds? No. So we had the wrong credentials, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so we're connecting. I think that we can... Beautiful. All right, let's give it a try.
Really? Just go?
I think we should just go.
Okay.
All right, take two. There's the connection manager. All right, there's our cursor. All right, let's try get the map one more time here. I have faith. I think this is going to work. I really do. Oh, we got
Bring out the beer.
unbelievable.
Seth,
Yes.
Seth, hold
Oh,
on, hold on, hold on,
dear.
hold on.
All right. We'll port this to C# and we'll try it again.
You reboot that phone.
Okay.
$20 says I can get it to work.
I'm going to check the credentials. I'm not going to fall for this again. All right. Is it 35625,
35625,
lowercase a,
lowercase a,
uppercase IZJ45, $3, lowercase x1g?
yes. I am not going to touch the code. I'm going to compile it as it sits right now.
What did he
$20.
do?
I'm going to get it to work. I just wasn't believing. I wasn't believing in this code.
All right.
Did you reboot it?
I'm working on it. Let's see. What did he do?
Nothing. I thought I learned to believe. I was in doubt about the magic of this.
Is it worth my $20 to see if he believed?
I'll tell you what.
All right. Let me. No.
5 gets you 20.
Five
Gets you 20.
on 20. That's good odds. Whose side? I want to know which way is the line leaning. All right.
Okay. Phone's over there.
I think I'm getting taken.
Active sync. Is it time to do it?
Close.
Tell me when.
I will. Good to go.
Okay.
Do you have to hit something?
Do I have to? Yes, I do. Okay, fine, fine.
All right. Compiled. Deploy started.
Establishing connection. Copying.
We have a bunch of awesome emulators inside of Visual Studio as well. So if you don't have a phone and you want to get started developing for devices, the SDKs include all the emulator images that you need. And they work really well, actually. The debugging is really fast with the emulators. All right, here we go.
What?
I want that $20 so bad.
See, I not only need to get the attendees involved, I need to get the speakers involved. There'll be other opportunities to win money later in the talk.
Oh, great. All right.
Seth,
Yeah.
thanks so much.
Hey, I'm taking the rest of my wallet with me because it's not safe.
Great.
Thanks
See
so
ya.
much.
Give it up for Seth. Woohoo. Now, most of you, when you write code, don't have somebody looking over your shoulder and have the uncomfortable position of having to stand up at a keyboard you don't know and work with a language that isn't the language you program in every day. But even with all those challenges, it only took us a couple of passes to get it to work. And you know, the shipping platform is pretty interesting. There's support for web services, there's support for XML, ASMX, all of that stuff works. We can even do transport level security so that I'm able to do authenticated connections to the web service, present my credentials, and it knows who I am. All that stuff works out of the box. It's actually pretty impressive that we're able to get this far in pretty much one release of this product. But it's not all. It wouldn't be a TechEd if we didn't talk about next year's model. So there's a lot of things that have been happening in the Visual Studio 2005 release. A lot of them have been primarily about making developers more productive. And if you look at the platform at large, there's any number of things that have happened. There's a lot of improvements in WinForms. There's a lot of improvements in the programming languages proper, certainly C#, synonymous delegates, and iterators, and of course generics. And so you have to ask yourself, how is that going to help me as a mobile developer, right? If I'm using these devices and I'm writing code against these devices, right? I was actually shocked when I found out that all of the language features and all of the generic support, are in a good position to come online in Whidbey. And in Whidbey for devices. In addition to the obvious things that we're doing across the platform, there are things that are specific to devices. For example, there's all kinds of crazy form factors different kinds of device resolutions. I want to have the ability to emulate those things on my box. I also need the ability to have better emulation, faster emulation, and a more accurate experience of what the device is going to be like when I'm developing it, not only on the device, but on my desktop. So to see the new things that are in Visual Studio 2005 for devices, I think it'd be good for Ori to come up and bring his wallet. And let's see if we can break some stuff with him.
Lucky for me, I don't get
in
paid, so
fact-
I got nothing in my wallet now.
Ori, I'm leaving Seth's money up here.
I'm giving Seth my wallet. Kill this. All right, so I have a confession to make before we start. I've given a lot of these talks, but I have never in my life needed to pee so badly. And so if I jump around and kind of go like this, just bear with me. I'm so tempted to just grab a bottle and just go back there. Sorry.
Thanks for sharing. Ori.
Anytime, anytime. All right. How many people have seen Visual Studio 2005? Some preview. Holy cow. How many of you have seen Visual Studio 2005 for devices? All right. So what we're going to show you today is some of the incredibly cool new features we're building in the next version of the tools. We grabbed a random build of the build server 2 days ago. We grabbed a random build of the future generation Windows mobile platform for Pocket PC and smartphone 3 days ago. So you can see real, live builds with all the bugs that are in them and all the exciting new features. Should we get going?
Yes.
Let's go. So
What
we're
button do I
switching.
press?
I think we're going to C.
Okay.
C is good. All right. Here we go.
So if this stuff works, if this stuff fails, it won't necessarily be because I mistyped.
No, it's by design.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and create a new Pocket PC project. What we're going to do is we're going to take the app that Seth just built for us very successfully, and we're going to dump that VB thing, and we're going to do this in C# proper. And yay. And we're going to create a new, oh, check this out. First thing you'll notice, actually, do you see any new project types in there? You wouldn't recognize
No,
them.
because I saw all these earlier today when I
Well,
tried
you-
doing this before.
You didn't see control library. You were never able to create custom controls in the previous version of the platform. It's a pretty cool new project. So smartphone and Pocket PC supported right out of the box. Obviously, the same great support for CE. We're going to make a Pocket PC app. And what we're going to do is actually grab, let's go ahead and call it.
Do you
what
care
do
what
we
I call it?
My app. In a very VB-ish name. How's that? Perfect.
Great.
All right. So I'm going to give you a quick tour through the IDE. What do you notice that's different, Don?
I noticed that I see something
You
that
see
looks
dead
like
people?
a device. Yeah. Very good. I see a device.
Right, so first thing you'll notice, we have a much, much richer experience at design time. This is something we've gotten tons of customer feedback about. In the past, as you saw earlier, in Visual, what did I say? The design time experience wasn't that great, because it looked like WinForms, right? The previous designer you saw in Visual Studio .NET 2003 looked like WinForms. What? And we don't want to build like desktop WinForms, we want to build device stuff. Imagine that customer feedback. We were blown away. It was just a shocking request. So we have full design time support for skinning. You can write your own skins. OEMs can give you skins. We have hot buttons as you hover over the different physical form factor buttons on the skin. We can auto-generate event handlers for you. You can turn off the skin. You can do whatever you want. And everything looks and feels like a device at design time.
So when I have the real device, I love hanging out with you guys because you always tell me what's happening in the new device space. So like in the new Pocket PCs, when I get near it, when I just hover near the button, will the little top thing show up?
Oh, hell yeah. If your finger or the stylus is within a quarter of an inch, you'll get a tooltip, right? No, you won't, Tom. Jeez, for the love. So let's see some other cute new features. So in the IDE, you can right-click on the form, and you can use our, on the form itself, you can actually use our quick editing, property editing view. So instead of having to go to the monster property window, you can make quick changes right there, let's say to name your form, for example, which is pretty neat. So you can just get going a lot faster with different controls. We have smart tags you'll see in a second, which are pretty cool. Let's go ahead and let's change the minimize box property for this form as well. This is another pretty cool thing. What you saw before, the reason we were rebooting the phone is because we didn't add an exit button to the app. And so we can never exit it, so we couldn't deploy a new version of the app. Now, just in the property window, you can change minimize box to false. And now you get the little OK X button so we can quit the app. We'll leave it OK. Oh, let's show the new app designer as well. So we have a new app designer, which is really, really neat. So in the past, if you wanted to keep all these different properties about your app, like code signing and icons and deployment properties that were like in 10 different places, our new app designer has everything in one beautiful place. You have a device tab dedicated to all the settings you need for your device. You can change a deployment target. Let's say we're going to use a device today, not the emulator yet. And notice we have a form factor support now. So with Visual Studio 2005, we support all the Windows mobile platform form factors. So VGA, square screen, landscape, portrait. Doesn't matter what you're doing, we support all of them. And we'll show you some of those exciting form factors later on. How many people have seen a Windows Mobile 2003 second edition device? 2. And you both work in Microsoft, don't you? God. So we're going to show you some cool new devices that could do different orientation, different resolutions. And in the past, you had to write tons and tons of code to basically handle all those different orientation changes on the fly and stretching and. All right. So we're going to show you how little code you have to write in order to do that today.
And I do have to ask, if I change it to VGA resolution, will it upgrade my device in place?
Yes, it goes to the OEM site, gets a new image, flashes your device, and fixes the screen on the fly, and you'll get twice as many pixels.
Excellent.
OEMs don't like that feature. All right, let's close the app designer. Let's write some code. The first thing we're going to do is let's add an existing project so we don't have to write all that map point code again. And I have different credentials that you can't see because they're super secret. We're going to add an existing project. And we're going to add a control that we previously wrote based on Seth's code. And the cool thing is in the past, my location control, in the past you couldn't create your own Windows custom controls with the tools. And now you can. So let's go ahead and build that control. And we'll show you some nice, richer rendering experience in the IDE. And how about we put, should we put a tab control on there? So we're going to build lots and lots and lots of different components. So let's add a tab control, and we'll drag over our cool new my location control right on the form and see what it looks like. So tab, we'll stretch it a bit. And did we get the my location controls in the toolbox? There it is. Let's drag that puppy over. And boom. Check that out. So you get very nice, rich rendering in the IDE. And now let's go ahead and make it a little bigger. And we're going to run it. But before we run it, I'm going to ask you to do something for me. So Windows Mobile 2003, as we said, supports landscape and portrait. Now, how do we handle this at design time? Right-click on our skin, and let's go ahead and try to rotate this guy at design time.
Like this?
Like that. Check that out. At design time, you can actually have the device rotate and see what your app is going to look like when it runs in portrait mode, which the devices can do on the fly. Our app looks like crap. Let's fix that. How would you fix this on the desktop?
Well, I know that a WinForms developer, unless he's on Pocket PC original, would use docking. Because docking gives us adaptive UI. It makes everything move exactly where it needs to be. That's how I would do it. Is that correct, Ori?
That is correct. Seth, is docking supported in Compact Framework version 1?
Docking is not supported in Compact Framework version 1.
Which means you had to write tons and tons and tons of code to handle all these different form factors. But
Seth, if I gave you $20, could you get it into a service pack?
I don't know.
40?
So let's go ahead and dock our controls. We also support anchoring, which means you can lay controls and have relationships between them in terms of who is next to who and move them around to the corners of the app and all that kind of stuff without writing any code whatsoever. And let's dock fill this puppy as well.
Okay.
And let's go ahead and rotate and see what happens. Is he being stubborn? There we go. Neat. Check that out. Is that cool or what? We didn't write any code. Our custom controls stretched. Now we're upside down. Our tab controls stretched, and all the controls are laid out in the form, and we didn't have to write any code whatsoever. So let's take a look at that in action as well. So that's at design time. And I'm going to put this guy on there for a sec. Can you see these guys? So this is a Toshiba E800 that's it's actually 640 by 480. This is a true VGA device, and this is the app that Don's running in design time. I'm going to click the rotate button. And this is exactly the same app, and we didn't have to write any code. And just as you're flipping the device from portrait to landscape, your app rotates with it, which is pretty neat. All right. Let's keep going. So what was the one lame thing about Seth's very, very cool app? Phone. What was the one lame thing?
You just hear the phone.
I can hear the phone and just know it's
like
our
a
phone.
pro thing.
Yep. So the one lame thing, sorry, Seth, about your app was that you hard-coded all your location coordinates, and that's not very cool. So what I want to show you today is how we can actually get some real GPS data right here in this room through this very thin ceiling using this very cool device. This is how many people know what this is? This is a Pharos Bluetooth GPS unit. And what it does, it sends Bluetooth or GPS coordinates over Bluetooth to our Pocket PC that has Bluetooth support. Now, in order to talk to this guy, we're going to have to write a whole bunch of code to talk to the driver. And in order to do that, we can't quite use C# yet, and we're going to do this in native code. How many native code developers in the house? Excellent. Yeah. So let's go ahead and write a whole bunch of C++ code.
Dude, this month, more of the code I've written proportionally more unmanaged code than I've written managed code this month.
I'm really sorry to hear that. That's really quite frightening, actually.
So I'm doing it so others won't have to.
Oh, such a sweetheart. Let's go ahead and create a new project. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, we have brought full-blown, fully featured, gorgeous native development environment for devices back into Visual Studio. How many people have used EVC? My condolences. EVC is going away, and we're building all that gorgeous functionality right into Visual Studio. And so we have a brand new set of ATL runtimes, MFC runtimes, new CRT extensions, SCL, WTL, anything and everything in native code is back, and it's awesome.
Are you using the same front end as the desktop?
Exactly the same consistent interface for ATL 8.0, MFC 8.0. Everything is just like desktop.
Man.
It's awesome. So let's go ahead and create a new ATL project. We'll show you how easy it is to write native code in VS. For those of you who have never written native code for devices, those who have can attest that it's kind of painful today. And it's not in Visual Studio, which is even more painful. If you click the next button, actually, you'll notice that you can now create single source code based for your application, both for Pocket C and smartphone. You don't need to maintain different project files. Let's click Finish, which is pretty neat, something a lot of customers have asked us to do. OK, so what do we want to do? Let's do this pretty quickly. We're going to add a class, and we're going to add a method to that class. And we're going to write 4 lines of C++ code to talk to the Bluetooth driver on our device, get some GPS coordinates out of it, then expose that as a COM object we can then consume from managed code, which is going to be pretty amazing considering we don't do COM interrupt.
We do COM interrupt now.
Now we do COM interrupt.
Yes.
Here we go. All right, so we're going to create a new class. We're going to call it read GPS. And we're going to, we're printing. Let's print the class. So COM interrupt is another. How many people? Well, not too many native developers in here, I suppose. But COM interrupt has been a hugely requested feature. So we've gone ahead and added that to the Compact Framework version 2, along with anonymous methods, iterators, generics. What else we got? About God knows how many new WinForms controls, some of which you'll see in a minute. Second version of the framework is just incredibly rich, and you have Seth to thank for that.
Yes.
There only one person who works in Compact Framework. It's compact.
Room.
It's a very efficient
You have a
operation.
compact office, too, right?
Oh, have you seen Seth's office?
It's tight. You have to crawl in.
He can only program on a phone. There's no PC. He doesn't fit in the room. So let's create a getData method.
Oh, it's
right.
the last talk of the day. I can feel it.
God. So, oh my God, bestial pointers. This is just lovely.
Feel it.
I feel the pain.
Love.
All right, so we're going to create a method that's called getData. It's going to have 2 parameters, bestial pointer for latitude and longitude, because that's what the driver understands on the device. And I think all we have to do is, the implementation. Minor details.
Yeah,
That's the one thing we don't do yet. We don't write source code for you yet in native. Very soon you'll be able to talk to this IDE and say, write me a driver for Bluetooth. It'll come. But, all right. Jeez. So the reason Don is coding this and I'm not, because I have absolutely no clue how to do this. So we're going to have Don, our COM. Does this bring back memories?
You know.
Oh, God. Oh, God.
I have COM underwear on. Do you see this? In fact,
Okay,
hold on.
where's the photographer?
How do you do the wolf vision? How do you do the wolf vision? Flip the wolf vision on.
Close the door, somebody, please. Can you?
Oops. I take my COM very seriously, Ori.
I'm not even going to go there. Oh, my God. We're so fired. Oh, I can't keep going. Seth, save me. All right, let's go write some code so we can get this part over with.
You're really regretting inviting me.
I have no idea. Let's go to gps.cpp. And let's go ahead and drag over some code. Not that one, yeah. No. Sweet. All right, so here's what this bunch of code does. 4 lines of code. We're going to initialize a connection over to the Bluetooth GPS unit, get a sentence, get lat long, close the connection like good boys and girls. No error handling because this always works. And I would have to say in practice this worked about 1 out of, well, we only practiced 1, so it never worked. So let's go ahead and build this guy. Oh, actually, let's not build it yet because I want to show you some quick properties you can change beforehand.
Here we go. Full screen mode.
Full screen mode. So let's right-click on our GPS project and do properties. And this is another place where incredibly painful for customers in the past to configure how they want to deploy mixed mode solutions. So we're going to go ahead and go to the General tab. And you can see the platform drop down. You can actually pick ARMv4 in there now. So we can maintain, there we go. And we're going to build this for the device, not for the emulator. And under the deployment tab, you can have Visual Studio automatically register all the output for you and register your COM objects. Everything just works. You can go to the linker tab, and the last thing we're going to do is add a linker input for the GPS driver library. And then we're done. All right. Great question. Why don't we show that, actually? Let's go ahead and hit apply. The question was, how difficult is it to build different versions, different builds for different platform versions? We now have full integration with MS Build. If you haven't gone to an MS Build session, you have to go see that. That is the coolest thing ever. Alex Kipman gives that talk. He's amazing. So we have integration with MS Build. You could fully script it. If we go to the solution properties, let's do that right now. If you go to the solutions properties, and if you go to the configuration properties, you can actually set multiple configuration properties to build different versions for different platforms, all from the IDE, if you don't want to do MS Build. So let's go ahead and make sure that says ARMv4 in there, which I'm sure we have. Gorgeous. Let's hit OK.
You know,
let's build and deploy.
Alex Kipman has MS Build underwear.
Oh, God. Well, I'm not wearing underwear, so there. Sorry.
It's OK.
Let's go ahead and build it and deploy it. We just need to build the native part. That's another cool thing. You can really easily select which part of your project you want to build. Build started. Build succeeded. We can right-click and say deploy. And because it's a DLL, we can't really show it running, but what we'll show is consuming it from managed code. Deploy started.
You know, the device is getting a little warmer with that COM stuff in it.
Is it? Well, we just dropped it on the floor. The chances of it actually still being alive are fairly small. Well, what does it say?
It says deploy started.
All right. I'll give it another second. And, oh, click on that guy. Yeah, you dropped it on the floor. It died. Hit OK. Cool. All right, that's deployed again. Okay.
Deploy succeeded.
Yeah, that's fake. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's consume it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to consume this COM object from our managed class library. We need a TLB input real quick. You want to do that?
Yes.
Cool. So
You mean we know that the product will, in fact, allow me to just right-click here and show add reference and pull up the COM tab?
Yeah.
That's just so...
It's just going to work. So when we ship, obviously, you won't have to do any of this by hand. You'll just be able to right-click, say add ref, and we'll TLB input and do it all for you. But because this is a random build, I'm fairly certain that doesn't work. Now, the other really cool thing about our new COM interop layer is that you can now access things like the Pocket Outlook object model via COM interop, which gives you access into all things like calendar, tasks, email. But we're going to show you something even cooler than that, so you don't have to use COM interop for that. Let's TLB into this puppy. Almost done. And add ref it. And yep. Cool. We're done. Oh, let's go change those 2 lines of code to actually consume this COM object and see it in action. Now I'm going to get our Bluetooth guy, put it under the Elmo, so you can see it in. You know what happened last time you did this?
It worked beautifully.
Yeah.
In my mind.
OK, so check this out. Look at this. We get beautiful IntelliSense against this brand new component we wrote in native code, right in the IDE. And we just instantiated 1 line of code we'll call get data. And we're done. Slick. OK.
Cool.
We're done. So let's build my location. And we'll send it over to the device.
Build failed.
Build failed. It's not a valid.
Oh, I probably forgot something really obvious here.
That would be new.
New. New is a good keyword. He's too much of a VB guy.
Great.
All right. So we build it. Let's go ahead and build my app again also. We can build the full guy, and we can deploy that guy down in a sec. Let's deploy him down and see it in action.
Build and deploy. Really?
Yeah, it's deployed. You don't want to deploy it? We actually have this really cool feature, which we could show in a sec. You can actually run your .NET Compact Framework application against your desktop. Because the Compact Framework team has done such an unbelievable job in being a subset of the desktop framework, you can actually run your app and debug it running on your desktop without even an emulator. OK, Control F5, and let's go. We started.
We've deployed all 3 pieces of code, yes?
I think so.
OK.
Didn't we?
We'll
I
find
think we
out
did.
shortly.
We'll find out shortly, won't we?
Do you want to run the Elmo Wolf Vision, whatever you call it?
Yes, we do. Although I think. All right. Elmo, Wolfie. Let's see if it came down here. Is this our guy? Oh. Zoom out. And I'm going to click the Where Am I button. And we're going to go out to map point using our cool new control. And we're going to bring back a flag based on our GPS coordinates that's going to tell us exactly where we are if we can actually see the map point web service. Give it a second. Hey, check that out. There you are.
Wow.
Do you see that?
That's amazing.
All right, that's pretty cool. All right, let's do some even more fun stuff out of this native thing.
OK.
So we're going to go, and the next thing I'm going to show you is some of the cool new class libraries that we've done on Windows Mobile, pretty much all based on customer feedback, which is a new concept for us. OK, all right, quick confession again. I've been in Microsoft for a while. This is by far, I'm not exaggerating, the most customer-focused release, most customer-focused product we have ever done. I'd say maybe 80% of the time I'm in my office, I feel like somebody else is designing my product for me, and that's customers. And that's actually a pretty damn good feeling. But overall, it makes me feel like, you know, I'm not really doing that much work anymore. Customers basically both design, and some of them actually build and contribute to the product too, which is kind of scary. But let's go ahead, go back to our form. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to show you 4 really cool things that are unique to devices. Until now, you got to see things that are sort of on par with desktop, right? COM interop, rich design time experience. We're going to take it a step further and show you where we're so much better than the desktop. And we're going to leverage things like the phone on the device, the contacts address book, show you a cool managed object model for SMS, sending and interception, and do all that in about 5 minutes.
Cool.
So let's go ahead and add a link label.
OK.
And we'll add a combo box, 2 buttons, one for making a phone call, one for SMS, and a list view. And I'll tell you why we need a list view. Now, in the past, if you wanted to talk to things like the contacts address book, appointments on the calendar, tasks, email, you were p-invoking into native code. How many people have felt the pain of doing that? That's a good number of you. That's good. Anybody who starts to build a real-world application, you'll very quickly notice on the current platform, we don't have a lot of managed interfaces that are dedicated to those device-unique features. And we've gone ahead and fixed all of that. So we're going to make an app that loads up the whole address book, makes a phone call to someone, sends them an SMS, and when they send you an SMS back, we're going to intercept that SMS and do something intelligent with it. And we're going to use Don's phone for that. Hopefully your wife won't be calling while we're doing this. So let's generate an event handler for contacts. And before we do that, we're going to import 2 very exciting new namespaces. One, the Microsoft.WindowsMobile. This is introducing Microsoft.WindowsMobile.
This code has not been shown all day, has it?
No, nobody's seen this. We have a new namespace for Windows Mobile where all the cool device features are showing up. And we need the telephony namespace as well. That's going to allow you to interact with the phone, which is pretty cool. And now we're going to load up the whole address book. And if anybody ever tried to go and enumerate the entire address book in a Pocket PC or a smartphone, it's probably about 700 to 800 lines of C++ codes. And we're going to try to write that a little bit faster. Combo box 1 dot data source equals new Outlook session. And the Outlook session object, which is a pretty cool object, has access to everything that's interesting about Pocket Outlook, .contacts, .items. And that is it. One line of code, we bind the entire address book into that combo box. That is pretty cool. Next thing we're going to do is make a phone call to the person that you selected in that combo box. Let's go ahead and get the call button. Cool. And we need to make a new phone call. So let's get a contact object back out of the combo box. We're going to do contact C equals, yeah. You can actually typecast the selected item in the combo box back into a contact object and then work with it in a richly typed way, or in a strongly typed way. Now let's do new phone dot.
Will this buy a new phone?
Yes, this in the mail you will get another device once you call this API. And make sure you don't do it in a loop. A lot of phones showed up. Dot talk dot C dot mobile telephone number. We'll call the mobile number. Check that out. One line of code. One line of code for everything. One line of code to load the address book. One line of code to make a phone call. And let's send an SMS. That's going to be maybe 2 lines of code. And now we're going to show you how to send an SMS message, because making phone calls is only cool in the US. Right? So if you're a European, you don't make calls. You just send SMS messages everywhere. So we're going to send an SMS message, and we're going to do new SMS message. Oh, and here comes our contest. All right, you guys pay attention, because this is when you get a chance to win a smartphone.
Or a book.
Or a book. Or a book.
Put the book up there.
Smartphone? I'll put the book up. All right. And a book. I'll put the book lower. All right, so what we're going to do is create a new SMS message. We're going to add a new recipient to the SMS message, because you can actually, you actually need to do a new recipient. Yeah. So the reason you have to do a new recipient when you send an SMS message is you can send an SMS message to multiple people. So that's pretty neat. And new recipient, there we go. And there goes the book. And a message.body, let's say hello from TechEd or something. Cool. And then you need to invoke the very obscure method called send on the message object. So message, tell it who you want to send it to, set the body, send it. Done. OK, so sending an SMS message is pretty cool. You're almost done, almost done. The last thing we want to do is actually intercept an SMS message that comes in. And the reason that is super cool is because you can do that for 2 main types of applications. One, you can create a command and control app, or an app that communicates using SMS as a transport, like a chess game. Or you can send commands down to the device, have your app communicate with other apps or servers using SMS. What we're going to do is intercept the SMS message that comes in and pop it into this list view. Did we set it into a list view mode? Let's change the view to actually be a list. And the first person to send us an SMS message to this phone that we intercept and put in the list view gets to win this phone. So take out your mobile phone if you got one, turn it on, and get ready to send me an SMS message. I'm going to give you the number, and we're going to give it to you quick.
But not until we get the code.
Not until we get the code written. So let's go ahead and write the code.
Okay.
And the code we're going to write is as follows. How many people have seen code snippets? Oh, let's show a code snippet. All right, so code snippets are a new feature in Visual Studio 2005. Let's go ahead and write SMS interception message rule. When Don hits tab, we're going to get a template for what it takes to do an SMS interceptor. And we're going to ship probably like north of 700 code snippets in the box for the desktop, and there'll be some for devices as well. So these are snippets that allow you to do all the most common types of tasks right out of the box without having to write too much code. And the last thing we're going to do is actually do SMS interceptor. And we're going to tell the interceptor what event handler to call us on when an SMS comes in. We're going to say SMS interceptor.message received. And now you can do plus equals. And again, Visual Studio notices you're about to create a new event handler. You could do tab, and generate code for that. But I think Don's going to do an inline.
I'll do it either way. Which way do you want to see it, Ori?
How many people have seen anonymous delegates? All right, show them anonymous delegates. OK, so we now have the ability to do a delegate inline with having to have a separate method for it, which is pretty cool. And what Don's going to do for us is populate the list view with the SMS message that comes in. So I have another code snippet for you you could use. You can type SMS, list view population, hit tab again. And now notice you get that cool little highlighting. The cool little highlighting tells you what part of the code snippet you should replace for your own custom code. So we can ship a huge template and have different places where you can tab through and just change the piece you want, and you're done.
Cool.
Awesome. Let's build it. Let's send it down to the device. All right, so now I'm going to give you my SMS phone number. Actually, I'm going to hold off a second until we actually make a phone call. So let's hit let's deploy down, and I'll launch it for you.
Oh, it just said deploy started.
Cool. We'll give that a sec. And
It's not saying deploy stop.
There's no point in stopping deployment. You were always deploying to the device. Do-do-do-do. Give this guy a sec. If you look,
That looks good.
it does look good. I think we actually got down there.
Did we? Okay, great.
I could
Hold on,
check.
I need to
I could
put-
check if we got down there. Let's see. I think you sent it down. Can you see it?
They can't see a thing.
Oh,
Well, actually, they can see you.
oh. Actually, hold on. I don't think you sent it down there. Want to send it down again?
Yeah.
Did you get it down there?
No.
Well, let's see. All right.
But I've managed to wedge Visual Studio.
Oh, beautiful. So I have another version of the exact same thing you just built running on the device, so you could take a look at that.
Okay.
Here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is click the My Contacts link that loads up the entire address book into the combo box. Tap on that. Here comes the whole address book that automatically bound to the data source property, which is pretty neat. We could pick somebody like Don and say call. And notice it brings up the, there we go, brings up the Windows Mobile dialer, which is pretty cool. Where's your phone? Right here. Is it ringing? Cool. So we just called Don on his phone. Now I'm going to send you an SMS message. And see if an SMS message shows up on your phone. And my phone number is 425-445-0854. Now let's see who actually sends me. Do you get an SMS message? Let's show it.
Oh. Yeah.
You missed a call.
I missed
from
a
me.
call from you.
Oh, somebody's calling. Who's calling? Who's 832-928-7902?
Shame on you.
Oh, that's not an SMS message. You don't get a phone. You don't even get the book. All right. So nobody sent an SMS
I
message
got
yet.
the message, though.
You did get the message? Oh, there we go. Text message from Mike. Who's Mike? Score. All right, you get a phone. You know what? Who's the winner? All right, I'll give you a phone too. Yeah, I have another phone for you as well. All right, so what did we just see? Okay, you guys, nobody send anything nasty. This is being recorded. All right, so what did you just see? You just saw us use a custom control to do mapping. You saw us writing native code, talk to a GPS Bluetooth unit. You saw us consuming that via COM interop. You showed us do rich design time support for landscape portrait. You showed you doing Pocket Outlook with 1 lines of code for the address book. We showed SMS interception. We showed sending an SMS message and making a phone call.
Yes,
Is this a cool platform or what?
it's a nice thing.
Fine. I think it's pretty damn hot. Cool.
Thanks, Ori.
All right, you all set?
I'm all set.
Fantastic.
And you can just leave these here. I'll make sure they find a nice home.
Get my $20 back.
All right, I'm going to give this to this gentleman.
Sure. So, we've seen a bunch of messaging, right? A lot of programming is taking input, sending it back out the other side as messages.
Was it you?
But it turns out there's one other interesting thing people like to do. They like to remember stuff. Whoa, hello. Good job, Ori.
Thanks.
Good job. Very Hendrix-like. Maybe the next thing you'll do is you'll get the device with the lighter fluid and burn one up at the next talk. So we saw lots of applications of messaging. The last thing I want to do before we close up here is look at how we remember things. As you may know, we've brought a version of SQL Server to the CE platform. And the one that's out there now is a useful piece of software that's making people happy. But they're nowhere near as happy as they're going to be when they see and use the version that Kevin Collins is going to share with us right now. Kevin, this is your moment to shine. You were up here. I know this is going to be good because his machine barely worked. And he had to stand up here for the first half hour just cobbling stuff
I
together.
wasn't going to give out any beer, so we weren't going to do any of that.
Okay, take it away, Kevin.
What we have is as Don talked about, the next release of SQL Server C coming out, which we're calling SQL Server Mobile.
Great.
So what we want to do is first show integration that we have with SQL Server 2005. So we haven't talked about that yet. We're going to show some Visual Studio stuff, but the first thing we want to do is just talk about how there's some integration. So we can see we have a SQL Mobile. We can go down on this. It'll come up with a
Maybe an extra few minutes with that machine would have been
here we are.
paid off.
So what we can do is we can say we want to do a new database. So we can come through, we can see, is my thing going on and off? I'm going to grab this one.
Here, I'll do it. I'll do the whole roadie.
And what we need to do is say overwrite existing file. You can go ahead and connect. And we shouldn't have any tables in here, so it's blank, a blank database we created. And this is all through what used to be Enterprise Manager in SQL Server 2000, which is now called SQL Server Management Tool. Now, before, if people wanted to get data onto their device, they had to actually have the database on the device. But as you saw here, we created the database on my hard disk, another really cool new feature with integration in with SQL Server 2005. Another thing I can do is I can come in and I can say I want to do a new subscription. So in this instance, what we're going to do is we've created a publication on SQL Server 2005, and we're going to run this really cool wizard that comes through that will allow us to bring data down to this SQL Server mobile database that resides on our desktop that we can then copy to our device and then do syncs over GPRS. So what I'm doing here is I'm just connecting up to telling it which SQL Server 2005 database is. I want to go to the Northwinds database. We can just give it a name. Here I already have an internet URL that I have for IIS. We're going to connect anonymously. And that's so Ori can go up to the restroom right now if he needs to. So it's an anonymous connection. And we can come in through here. We can type in my password. This is what Don calls hackling me. So we can come through. Now, the cool thing about this, Don, is I know you love to write code.
I love to write code.
But-
Are you going to let me write code, Kevin?
But see, that's the cool thing about this is we're going to be codeless and still do cool stuff. So on this,
I find that hard to believe, Kevin.
so
You're going to have to impress me.
so here,
This demo better rock.
it will rock. Now
it better not tank.
we could take your favorite language, as Ori was talking about, which is VB.NET, and you could just copy and paste this and put it into your favorite VB.NET app, and then it would just run. Because we're doing everything in this wizard. So it's super cool that we can do this. Before you'd have to go and remember what your internet URL was, what your backend subscription name was, and all that. So again, you want to remember all this? Or would you?
Done. I already have.
Okay. He's got photographic memory. Him and Bill are buds on that. So we're coming down, we're going to get progress notification of what's going on. So it's going to tell us as it's synchronizing, it's going up and hitting my IIS box. And, you know, last time this ran, it went really fast. I think it was all the jokes that were going on. It saw that com-based underwear, and it got really scared.
What kind of underwear do you wear, Kevin?
I don't wear com-based underwear.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that.
So it's bringing down information. And what we see here is some notifications that are going on. This is another complaint that we got from a lot of developers is that if they were syncing and they were going over a GPRS network, they would never know what exactly was happening. So they'd be really slow, and the user might warm boot the device. Now all this cool stuff is available through callbacks that you can get and do your own status bar along the bottom. Now, Don would be happy to know that you do have to write code for this. We just provide the callback mechanism. So if we come in here, we can say we want to refresh this. We can see all the tables that we brought down now. So we can go even a step further on this, and we can say, hey, let's go in here and let's query the data. Again, this is something that's new that we never had before in the sense that you always had to look at the device to get to any of the data. You had to use your own browser on the device or something that we provided. So
Did you have an iSQLW for the device?
We do, and we still do, but people had a hard time just kind of pecking and tapping along to do a nice big select statement like this. Now, you'd probably like that on your smartphone, because then you could go in and
The T9, that whole T9
yes.
thing would be great with this.
Except it wouldn't remember, like, you know, what would be a good one? Inner join might not come up on the T9 part. So we can go ahead and click execute on this, and we'll see all the data that we have down here, which is pretty cool. So we can browse the data. Now, before this was always a black hole for people. They would always wonder, you know, unlike SQL Server, I don't have the ability to come and find out what's going on. So what we've done is added an integration where we can say we want to include an actual show plan. We can execute this guy again, and what you'll see along the bottom here, what's going to populate up, it says executing query, and it's going to bring this up, is it'll bring up a show plan. Now, why is, you guys definitely scared my
There.
machine.
No, there.
And what we have is the actual
Just
show
wanted to
plan.
get it right.
It did. It was thinking. But we have the tool tips, so you can bring this. You can see what everything's going, or you can click on it and look at this. And you have the ability now to find out what's actually going on in your device. Now, if you want to be really cool, you can output this to an XML file, one of your favorite things, onto the device, bring that XML file and drag it back up onto this desktop and see the query plan as it was executing on the device. So, you know, you have different properties with CPU and memory differences between different devices. Now you can be specific on what that is. And just like SQL Server, you now have the ability to put tool or show plan hints or query hints in there. So like table order, index order, to go and override the query plan if you don't like the one that we came up with for optimal performance. So that's what's really cool inside of that. Now, the other thing is what we showed here was integration between SQL Server Mobile and SQL Server. So we have a great story there where you can do sync, just like we did here. We brought down all the schema. It was just one method call, which is that .synchronize, and the rest was properties. But you could copy and paste. But what happens if you want to get to data that's not in SQL Server? Well, what we did is did even more integration in with the SQL Server folks, and we did stuff integrated in with DTS. So with DTS, screen on this. What we have is the ability to bring in data from other data sources. So we could bring in data from DB2, bring it into SQL Mobile. A big favorite is people bringing in Access Jet data. They want to get it in just to the SQL database and then be able to play with it on the device and then bring it back up. So with DTS, you have the ability to come through. We can look at our connection. So we actually have a SQL mobile connection, which is a database that we've already created right here off this tooltip. And what we're going to do is be bringing it from a Jet database. So I can come in here, see this is an MDB file. Up here, I can execute a SQL task that I can go and do business logic. So if I wanted to manipulate data either on the Jet database or on the SQL mobile database, I could go ahead and do that. So in the data flow section, what we have is we're bringing this from Jet into SQL Mobile. So if we come back to control flow, they have some, you'd like this done, they have really cool color graphics on here. So if we execute this, we'll have it come up. Man, it's like...
So this is basically like having something like DTS for SQL.
It is. It's the exact same thing. Instead of doing this for SQL Server, I can turn it to SQL Mobile as my destination, or I can bring data up and have SQL Mobile as the source and some other data source be the destination. So we executed this. We have the beautiful green colors, which means that good. It's a very good sign. And what we can do is we can come back, close this guy down. We can come back and we can open up another file just to prove that we have this data in here. So I'm going to go ahead and connect to this database. This is the table that we brought it in from. I can say execute. And this is that customer's data from the Northwinds Jet database that we brought into here. So super cool. Very few clicks. We could take this DTS package, integrate it into our Visual Studio 2005 application, and boom, get data from any data source and bring it in. So you have abilities to get anything that you're used to being able to get to from any data source and now bring it into SQL Mobile, take that database and put it on your device and go off and party on it. So now what we've seen is we've seen really cool stuff in terms of what's available with integration with SQL Server 2005 to really make life easier for developers. But what about all the stuff that we've been showing here? What about getting it into the app? Well, you know, I was back here, I was just cringing because you guys are typing all this code. You know, it used to be, if anyone's coded in Visual Studio 2003 with SQL CE 2.0, you had to code everything. You had to code your data grid, you had to bind it, you had all these issues. No, I just hated that. And I know you do too. Deep down inside, you like to have things just go really fast. So what we can do also with this, you're not agreeing with me.
No, I do. Believe me, programming against that data grid stuff, that would be a hell for me. If I had to do that stuff on a regular basis, it would drive me crazy.
So we're going to make your life easier here. So what we can do is
more pleasant.
We're in Visual Studio 2005.
Great.
What we're going to do is they've integrated in. I already created data connection to my database. I created on this desktop. Your phones keep. Hey, we have dinner.
Yeah. Keep going.
Oh, where are we eating?
I don't know. We'll expand that.
So what we can do is we can come in on this data designer. It's basically what you could always do with SQL Server, but you can never do with a device. Now you can come in here and you can do really cool stuff. and you can type stuff, and it'll just go right into the database live. This is something we've never been able to do before. So now we have integration with data with Visual Studio 2005. Boom, I can change my data. If you wanted to, we could go in and open more and do windows that come across. So we can manage the database. So if you don't have SQL Server 2005 tools, you can do the data management and data manipulation through Visual Studio 2005. For me, this is a huge thing because I've never been able to do this before. So let's go ahead and create a new project now, just like we're doing before. And we'll come in here. We're going to say it's a smart device extension. We'll just call it SQL Mobile. Now, this is where the stuff really gets cool. We'll come in here. We'll choose Pocket PC, just like you guys were doing with Ori. My machine's not as fast as Ori's, so we'll wait for it to come up. Actually, I like the way that you flipped the skin off when Ori wasn't looking and went to just the Windows form. That was a really
Classic.
Neat, it was.
Yes.
So we'll wait for this to come
You know why
up.
Ori's is faster?
Because he's not running it in a virtual PC.
No, really? That says a lot.
So I'm just going to come in here. We're going to change the name. And I'm going to come down here. One of the things I hate is maybe you could talk to Seth and Ori and they could change it so it just always be OK instead of that X. And then, you know, how many people would like that? All right, there we are. We can get rid of that. So we have a little form here. So we can come in, and let's see how easy it is now to add data. So we can say add a new data source, which is going to pull from the data connection that we've already, yeah, I know about that. Already be able to pull from the data connection that we created. We can say database. You guys were doing a web service before with Seth. You can come in here. I can say I want a new connection. It's going to come off. I don't want to save this connection. Come through. It's going to go and query the database locally, the SQL Mobile database. I can come in here. We can say we just want customers and orders. So we'll go ahead and click Finish. And what this is going to do is it's going to start to create. Oh, that wasn't part of the script.
Really?
No,
I thought you did that for dramatic effect.
I think you owe those guys a beer now, is what I'm thinking. Let's see if it actually did save my XSD file. Ooh. Let's try that one more time.
Yeah, let's. Because I really want to see it work.
So do I. So we're going to go into data sources.
There's a reason we're not shipping this thing yet.
Well, like Ori said, if it was done, we could go ahead and do it. So let's see.
Add new data source?
No, I want to. Yeah, I can't do that. So I'll go data, add new data source. Why is it with you, Don, that the very first time I would have this, that it would crash on me? So we
Luck.
go tables, customers, orders, finish. What can I say? .NET's great.
.NET rocks. Great. Kevin?
I owe you a beer.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. I've got a question.
Yes.
These guys, these device guys, in fact, I think it was Seth, was taunting me when he was trying to convert me over to this way of the device. He was saying, you know, Don, not only do we have all these extra features with SQL Server, he told me you had something called a typed reader. Is this true, Seth? Is this on this box right now?
A tight reader.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we do.
Show me it.
Here. I'll show it to you on here, and you can do something really cool
How do we?
while I'm doing this.
Okay.
So let me bring this up.
Okay. So we ship the support in the V1 frameworks, which is the typed data set, right? And the typed data set basically says, I'm going to slurp all of the data into memory and then give you strong typing on top of it. And the problem is if I'm doing fire hose mode cursors, I lose the ability to do strong typing because all I have is iData Reader.
So Don,
Yes.
here's an app that is super cool that I wasn't planning on showing, but we'll show it anyways. What this is our gal at Microsoft. So you're even included in this. So it's
cool.
50,000 people on here. And what I want you to do is just bring up the text box on the bottom and start typing in your email alias.
Does something have to have focus?
Ju-
Like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now you notice after you type in the first 2 characters of that, that's going to be very slow. And that's what we used to call the data set on the device. So as you keep typing, what we're doing is we're going through with a like clause using the data set. And we're going and retrieving all the rows one at a time. So as you can see, it's quite slow when we do it that way. I don't know if you're done yet, because I'm not watching you. I'm trying to catch up on this. What are you typing? What is? There's a reason for this. If you do the whole thing, we'll see a time. But now it's going to be a bad time because we've looked at so much stuff that's on here.
Okay.
Are you?
I'm innocent.
There's awful amount of eerie quiet out in the audience. No, Linux isn't in there. What in the? No, it's got to be an email alias, unless you want to switch to a different name or something. Hey, this works this time around, Don.
So what name do you really want me to use?
Well,
My own?
go ahead and type yours in. Just your email alias until your thing comes up. All right. Now minimize the SIP. Hit the little keyboard. Now you can see it took how many seconds? Yours isn't a good one. Type mine in, Kevin COL. There's not enough rows in there. KEVIN.
COL?
Yeah. All right, now bring the SIP back down. Took 2.9 seconds. Now click on that top one. The radio button on there. Now type in my email alias again. You got to put focus up on the top. I'm not a UI guy when I do this code. You can see immediately how much snappier this whole thing is coming up. Now let's bring it down. 0.7 seconds. So, and this is an order of magnitude 3 times. This is the difference from what we call the SQL C result set and what we used to have with the data adapter and the data set.
But I'm loving this. This was really cool. I thought. And what I hear is you're doing it only for devices. Is this true?
Well, Don, originally there was the SQL result set in SQL Server 2005, but that got kind of, but we needed this so bad, so that's why it's called SQL CE result set. In a future version, it will come out.
Man. So it's
No.
better to be a device guy.
It is. Bleeding edge.
That
You get the
rocks.
super cool performance.
Cool.
So let's flip back to 1 and 1. Now, mysteriously, this worked this time.
No.
So,
No. Really?
yeah, it did. I can't really explain why, but we have the 2 tables that were up there. What I'm going to do now is go into my XSD schema that's generated for this. And what we can do is we can come in, we can add a relation in here. So I can, yeah, that's normal. I can say I want customer ID, and now what I'm going to do is create a one-to-many relationship. We can see that table there. I'm going to save this guy so we have this XSD to use at a later time. And now what I want to do is come back to data sources, and we have those 2 tables that we specified. Now this is the coolest stuff. This is super cool because without writing any code, I'm going to go drag and drop. And what's going to happen is everything is just going to automatically populate. My machine's a little bit slower here, but it's going to happen, trust me. It's up. There we are. Now the other thing that I really like is something that Ori was showing before, and that's the ability to come through and dock. Yeah, I love that. Now, remember back, you started, you were around, but you weren't back like in the good old, when there used to be Access, and Access 2 came out.
I remember all that.
Yeah, but and remember how they had the really cool stuff that you could go in and you can say, I want a one-to-many form without writing any code. Now I can come in, I can say I want the orders table on here. I'll automatically, without me doing anything, slowly come up and come in. I can dock this down to the bottom. And now I have this app. So what we can do is build it. And what I'm going to do is move over to here, and we're going to bring up this guy, and I'm going to switch back, and we have our app without any code that we did in Visual Studio 2005, drag and drop, have one-to-many relationships that automatically populate going all the way down. So as you can see, the data is switching without any code. Now, is that cool or not? Let's hear it. So Don, I didn't get a chance for you to code anything because it's just so cool that you just drag and drop. Now, so that to me is the VS stuff just kicks butt. I mean, I've been doing this since we started SQL Server, and the hardest thing was always having to code all this stuff. And now just boom, it comes down and you get this wonderful looking app with my screen keeps dimming on. So very cool stuff. That's what we have as some of the key highlights. Key things here is integration in with the tools. And then we went ahead because the demo crashed and we showed some other stuff that had to do with some other really cool performance stuff. So thank you.
Thank you, Kevin. Last session of the day. It's over. We could hold you here for another hour and make you watch us put devices destroyed. Is that better? Thanks, Seth. You earned your $20 back. Thanks, pal. So we saw that the shipping platform is actually pretty interesting. We can do nice WinForms apps. We can do web services using ASMX. The stuff just works, and we actually, except for my typos, would have had a beautiful demo. And we saw that there's a lot of interesting stuff happening in Whidbey, both in terms of the general experience, the stuff that we saw with Ori, as well as the data-oriented stuff with SQL. Now would be an excellent time to call this session finished. File over to where are the free drinks? Are they at the exhibit hall?
Yes.
Yes? We'll go to the exhibit hall, have a beer or two together, and I'm sure all these three guys and I would be happy to answer any questions you have over there when we have a beer in our hand. So, and plus, Ori's got to go pee, so there we go. Thank you.